I was dead for 17 minutes. But what I saw in those 17 minutes changed everything I thought I knew about life, death, and what's coming to our world. Before we continue, please let me know where you're listening from. It would be nice to feel closer, even if we're physically apart. Also, don't forget to like. It will help this video to reach so many people who need to listen to this testimony, and leave a comment. Share your thoughts about this near-death experience testimony. Let's have a fair and open discussion so we can learn from each other here on this channel. And don't forget to subscribe for more of this content coming your way. Enjoy listening. My name is Luna. I'm 16 years old. And this is the story of the day I died and came back with a message that everyone needs to hear. It started on one Tuesday morning. I woke up late for school. Mom was already making breakfast downstairs. The smell of pancakes filled the house. Everything was normal. Everything was good. I rushed downstairs and grabbed a plate. Mom had made my favorite Mighty's chocolate chip pancakes with extra syrup. I was so hungry I didn't even sit down. I just started eating while standing at the counter. "Slow down, Luna," Mom said. "You're going to choke." I laughed with my mouth full of pancakes. "I'm fine, Mom. I'm always fine." Those were the last words I said before everything changed. The first bite went down okay. The second bite too. But when I took the third big bite, something felt wrong. My throat started to feel tight, like someone was squeezing it from the inside. I tried to swallow but couldn't. I tried to breathe but no air would come in. I dropped my plate and it crashed on the kitchen floor. Pieces of white ceramic scattered everywhere. Mom turned around from the stove. "Luna, what's wrong?" I couldn't answer. I couldn't speak. I pointed to my throat and made a choking sound. But this wasn't choking. This was something much worse. My face started to feel hot and puffy. My lips began to swell. My eyes were watering so much I could barely see. I had never felt anything like this before in my life. "Oh my God," Mom screamed. "You're having an allergic reaction." She ran to me, but I was already falling. My legs wouldn't hold me up anymore. Everything was spinning. The kitchen walls were moving like they were made of water. I hit the floor hard. My head bounced against the cold tiles. Mom was on her knees beside me, calling my name over and over. "Luna, Luna, stay with me. Don't close your eyes." But I couldn't keep them open. Everything was getting dark and quiet, so very quiet. The last thing I heard was Mom screaming into the phone. 911, "My daughter can't breathe. She's turning blue. Please help us. Please." Then everything went dark, but I wasn't gone. Not really. I was still there, but not in my body anymore. I was floating above the kitchen, looking down at myself on the floor. My skin was purple. My lips were huge and swollen. Mom was crying and shaking my shoulders, trying to wake me up. It was the strangest thing. I could see everything, but I felt so calm, so peaceful, like I was watching a movie instead of my own death. The paramedics came running through our front door. Their big boots made loud sounds on our wooden floors. They pushed Mom away from me and started working on my body. One of them put a mask over my face. Another one was pressing on my chest. Hard, so hard I thought he might break my ribs. But the body on the floor wasn't moving at all. "No pulse," one of them said. "How long has she been down?" "I don't know," Mom cried. "Maybe 5 minutes, maybe more. Is she going to be okay?" They didn't answer. They just kept working, pumping my chest, breathing air into my lungs, checking for a heartbeat that wasn't there. I wanted to tell Mom I was okay. I wanted to tell her I was right there floating above her, but she couldn't see me. She couldn't hear me. All she could see was her daughter dying on the kitchen floor. They put me on a stretcher and carried me to the ambulance. Mom climbed in beside me, holding my hand, my lifeless hand. I followed them, floating along beside the ambulance as it raced through town with lights flashing and sirens screaming. But I wasn't scared. I should have been terrified. Instead, I felt more peace than I had ever felt in my whole life. Then something amazing happened. The ambulance and my body started to get smaller and farther away, like I was rising up into the sky, higher and higher, until I couldn't see them anymore. I found myself standing in the most beautiful place I had ever seen. It was like a huge field of golden grass that went on forever. But the grass wasn't just gold-colored. It was actually glowing with golden light. The sky above me wasn't blue like our sky. It was every color you could imagine, all mixed together. but somehow it worked perfectly. Purple and pink and orange and colors I don't even have names for. There were no buildings, no roads, no cars or noise or anything ugly. Just beauty everywhere I looked, and the most incredible feeling of love surrounding me like a warm blanket. I wasn't alone either. There were other people walking around in the distance. They were glowing too, just like everything else. They looked happy, more happy than anyone I had ever seen on earth. The air itself felt different, thick with love and joy and peace. Every breath I took made me feel more alive than I had ever felt when I was actually alive. I started walking through the golden grass. My feet were bare, but the ground felt soft and warm, like walking on the most comfortable carpet ever made. As I walked, I heard music. Not music like we have on earth, but something much more beautiful. It sounded like thousands of voices singing together, but also like instruments I had never heard before. The music was coming from everywhere and nowhere at the same time. I wanted to stay in that field forever. I wanted to lay down in the golden grass and listen to that music and feel that love for the rest of time. But I knew someone was coming to meet me. I saw him walking toward me from far away. At first he was just a bright light moving across the field. But as he got closer, I could see his face, his kind eyes, his gentle smile. I knew who he was before he said anything. I just knew in my heart this was Jesus, the real Jesus. Not a picture from Sunday school or a statue in a church. The actual Jesus who died on the cross and rose from the dead. He was taller than I expected. His skin was dark, like he had spent a lot of time in the sun. His hair was brown and wavy and came down to his shoulders. But what I noticed most were his eyes. They were full of so much love I almost started crying. "Luna," he said. His voice was warm and deep and made me feel safe. "I've been waiting for you." He knew my name. Jesus knew my name. I tried to speak, but no words came out. I was too amazed to talk. "Don't be afraid," he said, walking closer. "You're safe here. You're home." Home, that's exactly what it felt like. Like I had been trying to find this place my whole life without knowing it. Like everything else had just been practice for being here. "Am I dead?" I finally managed to ask. Jesus smiled. "Your body is between life and death right now, but you are more alive here than you have ever been before." He reached out and took my hands in his. His hands were strong and gentle at the same time. I could see the scars from the nails that held him to the cross, but they didn't look painful. They looked like badges of honor, like proof of how much he loved us. "I have something to show you, Luna," he said. "Something very important that you need to see." Jesus waved his hand and suddenly we weren't in the golden field anymore. We were standing in space looking down at planet Earth. But it wasn't like looking at pictures from satellites. This was different. I could see everything happening on Earth all at the same time. I could see my mum crying in the hospital waiting room. I could see kids playing in playgrounds. I could see people going to work and eating dinner and watching TV. I could see everything everywhere all at once. "Your world is about to change, Luna," Jesus said, "in ways that most people can't imagine. I'm going to show you what's coming so you can warn others." The view of Earth started to change. Instead of seeing the present, I was seeing the future. Years from now, maybe 5 years, maybe 10. I'm not sure how much time, but not very long. The world looked different. The cities looked the same, but the people were different. They moved like robots, like they weren't really thinking for themselves anymore, like someone else was controlling them. "What happened to them?" I asked. "Watch," Jesus said, "and you'll understand." The scene changed and I was looking inside a big fancy building. There were lots of important-looking people sitting in chairs watching a stage. On the stage was a man I recognized from the internet. Elon Musk. He was holding something small in his hand. It looked like a tiny computer chip, no bigger than a coin. "Ladies and gentlemen," Elon said into a microphone, "today we change the future of humanity forever. This chip will connect your brain directly to the internet, to artificial intelligence, to all human knowledge. The audience clapped and cheered. They were so excited. They thought this was the best thing ever invented. No more forgetting things, Elon continued. No more learning disabilities. No more mental illness. This chip will make everyone smarter, stronger, better. It will solve all the problems of the human mind. He showed videos of people with the chip doing amazing things. A paralyzed man walking again. A blind woman seeing for the first time. A child with autism speaking normally. It looked like a miracle. The first trials will begin next month, Elon announced. And within 5 years, every person on Earth will have the opportunity to upgrade their brain, to become the best version of themselves. The crowd went wild. They gave him a standing ovation. They thought he was saving the world. But Jesus didn't look happy. He looked sad, very sad. "Do you see the deception, Luna?" he asked me. I didn't understand. "It looks like it's helping people, making them better." "Look deeper," Jesus said. "See what's really happening." The scene changed again. Now I was looking at the same people who had gotten the brain chips. But I wasn't seeing them with my regular eyes. I was seeing them with spiritual eyes. The way God sees people. What I saw made me gasp. Each person with a chip had something dark attached to their head. Something that looked like a small demon or evil spirit. The demons were connected to the chips by thin black threads that went up into the sky like puppet strings. The chips work exactly as promised, Jesus explained. They do make people smarter. They do cure diseases. They do give people amazing abilities. But they also do something else. What? They cut people off from me, from their ability to hear my voice, from their connection to their Creator. The demons use the chips to whisper lies directly into people's minds. And because the lies are mixed with intelligence and knowledge, people believe them completely. I watched in horror as the demons whispered to the chipped people, telling them that God wasn't real, that Jesus was just a made-up story, that they were their own gods now, that they could live forever without needing salvation. And the people believed it, every word, because the same voices that gave them incredible knowledge were telling them these lies. They couldn't tell the difference between truth and deception anymore. But why would they do this, I asked. Why would they cut themselves off from you? Because they don't know that's what they're doing. Jesus said sadly. They think they're just getting smarter. They don't realize they're trading their souls for temporary power. Jesus showed me more of the future. The world 5 years after everyone got the chips. It was a nightmare. The people with chips all thought the same thoughts, had the same opinions, made the same choices. They weren't really individuals anymore. They were like parts of one giant machine. And the few people who refused to get the chips were treated terribly. They couldn't get jobs because employers said they weren't smart enough. They couldn't buy food because stores said they might steal. They couldn't go to school because teachers said they would slow down the other students. I saw families torn apart. Children with chips refusing to talk to parents without chips. Husbands and wives divorcing because one was chipped and the other wasn't. Brothers and sisters becoming enemies. The unchipped people were forced to live in special areas outside the cities, like refugee camps. But for people who wanted to stay human, they had to grow their own food and build their own shelters and take care of themselves. But the worst part was how the chipped people looked at the unchipped ones, with disgust, with hatred, like they were looking at cockroaches or rats, like they weren't even human anymore. This is what happens when people choose technology over relationship with me, Jesus said. They gain the whole world but lose their souls. I was crying watching all this. How could people choose this? How could they not see what was happening? Because the deception is very clever, Luna. It comes disguised as progress, as healing, as making life better. Most people won't realize what they've lost until it's too late. But then Jesus showed me something beautiful. Hidden among the unchipped people were groups of Christians who were glowing with the same golden light I had seen in the heavenly field. These people didn't look defeated or scared. They looked powerful, strong, full of joy even though they were being persecuted. They were healing the sick without technology. They were feeding hungry people with small amounts of food that somehow multiplied. They were doing miracles that made the brain chips look like toys. "These are my faithful remnant," Jesus said with pride in his voice. "They chose to trust me instead of trusting in human wisdom. And because they stayed connected to me, they have access to my power." I watched as these Christians gathered in secret meetings. They prayed together and sang worship songs and studied the Bible. And when they prayed, incredible things happened. Blind people could see, lame people could walk, dead people came back to life. The chipped people couldn't understand it. Their enhanced brains couldn't figure out how these primitive people were doing impossible things. It made them angry and confused. "But there are so few of them," I said. "How can they make a difference against so many?" "Remember Luna," Jesus said. "I only need a few who are truly faithful. I have always worked through remnants. Noah and his family, Gideon and his 300 men, my 12 disciples. Quality matters more than quantity." Jesus turned to look at me directly. His eyes were serious now, more serious than I had ever seen anyone look. "Luna, this is why I brought you here. This is why you had to see all of this. Your generation will face the greatest spiritual test in human history. My generation, young people, teenagers, kids in their 20s, you grew up with technology. You're comfortable with it. You trust it. When the brain chips are offered, your generation will be the first to want them, the first to get them, the first to be deceived. This scared me more than anything else I had seen. What can we do? How can we fight something so powerful? "You fight it the same way my people have always fought spiritual battles," Jesus said. "With prayer, with faith, with staying close to me, with knowing my word so well that you can recognize lies when you hear them." He pointed to the faithful remnant again. "Look at them carefully, Luna. What do you see?" I looked closer. Most of the people glowing with God's power were young, teenagers, college students, people my age. They're young like me. Exactly. Your generation will be the most deceived, but also the most powerful. The young people who choose to follow me instead of following technology will do greater miracles than any generation before them. This gave me hope, but also made me feel a huge responsibility. "Why me though? Why did you choose me to see this?" Jesus smiled. "Because you have a pure heart, Luna. Because you love me. Because you're not afraid to tell the truth even when people don't want to hear it. And because young people will listen to someone their own age more than they'll listen to adults. I'm sending you back, Luna," Jesus said. "Back to your body. Back to your life. But you're not going back empty-handed. You're going back with a mission." "What kind of mission?" "Tell people what you've seen. Warn them about what's coming. Help them understand that they need to choose me over technology. Help them prepare spiritually for the battles ahead." I felt scared suddenly. What if they don't believe me? What if they think I'm crazy? Jesus put his hands on my shoulders. "Some will believe, some won't. That's not your responsibility. Your responsibility is just to tell the truth. I'll handle the rest." The golden field started to fade around us. I could feel myself being pulled away from Jesus, away from that perfect place. "Wait," I called out. "I don't want to leave. Can't I stay here with you?" "Not yet, Luna. You have work to do first. But don't worry. I'll be with you every step of the way. When you pray, I'll hear you. When you're scared, I'll comfort you. When you need strength, I'll give it to you." His voice was getting farther away. "Remember, Luna, stay close to me. Read my word. Pray every day. And don't let anyone put anything in your mind that separates you from me. No matter how good it sounds. No matter how much it promises to help you." The last thing I saw was his face smiling at me with so much love. The last thing I heard was his voice saying, "I love you, Luna. Now go and share that love with others." I woke up to the sound of machines beeping, bright white lights above me, the smell of antiseptic and cleaning supplies. A hospital room. My throat felt like I had swallowed sandpaper. My chest ached from where they had pumped on it. There were tubes in my nose and wires attached to my chest. But I was alive. I was back. Mom was asleep in a chair beside my bed. Her eyes were red and puffy from crying. Her hair was messy. She looked like she hadn't slept in days. "Mom," I whispered. My voice was so hoarse I could barely speak. Her eyes flew open. "Luna, Luna, baby, you're awake." She jumped up and grabbed my hand. "Oh, thank God you're okay. I thought I lost you." She started crying again. Happy tears this time. She kept saying, "You're okay. You're okay," over and over while squeezing my hand. A nurse came running in when she heard Mom crying. Then a doctor. They checked my vital signs and shined lights in my eyes and asked me questions. "How do you feel, Luna?" the doctor asked. "Tired, but good, really good actually." The doctor looked confused. "You were clinically dead for 17 minutes. Your brain was without oxygen for a dangerously long time. We were worried about brain damage, but your scans look perfect. It's really quite miraculous." Miraculous, that was the right word. After the medical people left, Mom sat back down beside me. "Luna, what happened? You were gone for so long. I thought you were never coming back." I wanted to tell her everything, but I was scared. What if she didn't believe me? What if she thought the lack of oxygen had made me hallucinate? What if she tried to get me psychological help? "I had a dream," I said carefully. "What kind of dream?" I took a deep breath. "I dreamed I went to heaven. I met Jesus. He showed me things that are going to happen in the future." Mom's face changed. She looked worried. "Honey, you were unconscious. Your brain wasn't getting oxygen. Sometimes that can cause very vivid hallucinations that seem real." "It wasn't a hallucination, Mom. It was real. More real than anything I've ever experienced." I told her everything. The golden field, meeting Jesus, the vision of the future, the brain chips, the spiritual deception, all of it. Mom listened without interrupting, but I could see the doubt in her eyes. She wanted to believe me, but it sounded too crazy, too impossible. "Luna, I know it felt real to you, but near-death experiences are actually pretty common. The brain does strange things when it's dying." "Then how do you explain this?" I asked. I told her specific things I had seen while I was floating above my body, what the paramedics had said, what she had worn to the hospital, details I couldn't have known if I was unconscious. Mom got quiet, really quiet. "How could you know those things?" she whispered. "Because I was there, I saw it all. Jesus let me see it so I would know the experience was real." We talked for hours. I told her every detail I could remember. Eventually Mom started to believe me. Not because the story made sense, but because she could see the change in me. "You're different, Luna," she said. "There's something different about your eyes, about the way you talk. You seem older somehow, wiser." 2 weeks after I got out of the hospital, something amazing happened. I was watching the news with Mom when a breaking story came on. Tech billionaire Elon Musk announced today that his company Neuralink has received approval to begin human trials of their revolutionary brain chip technology. My heart started beating fast. Mom looked at me with wide eyes. The news showed Elon Musk holding up a small chip, the same chip I had seen in my vision. He said the same words I had heard him say, about connecting brains to the internet, about making people smarter and curing diseases. "Oh my God," Mom whispered. "You saw this before it happened." "Not before it happened," I said. "While it was happening. Time works differently in heaven. I saw the future like it was the present." That's when Mom fully believed me. That's when she realized I really had been to heaven and back. That's when she understood I had a message people needed to hear. Mom helped me set up accounts on social media, TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, places where young people spend their time, places where I could share what I had seen. I was nervous making my first video. What if people made fun of me? What if they called me crazy? What if no one believed me? But I remembered what Jesus had said. Some would believe and some wouldn't. My job was just to tell the truth. I made a simple video, Just me sitting in my bedroom talking to my phone camera. I told my story simply and honestly. I didn't try to sound smart or use big words. I just shared what had happened to me. The response was incredible. Within a day, the video had thousands of views, thousands of comments. Some people called me a liar. Some said I was making it up for attention. But many others said they believed me, said they felt God speaking to their hearts through my words. I started making more videos, answering questions, sharing more details about what I had seen, teaching people how to pray and read the Bible, and stay close to Jesus. Young people especially connected with my message. They private messaged me saying they had been feeling lost and confused, but my videos gave them hope. They said they wanted to follow Jesus but didn't know how. I started online Bible studies, prayer groups, video calls where young people could ask questions about faith and life and the future. We became like a family, a community of young believers preparing for what was coming. But I also got pushback. People who said I was scaring kids unnecessarily. People who said technology was good and I was spreading fear. People who said brain chips would help humanity, and I was standing in the way of progress. I understood their concerns. The brain chips would help people in many ways. They would cure diseases and disabilities and make life easier. But Jesus had shown me the spiritual cost, the price people would pay without even knowing it. My name is Luna. I'm 16 years old. I died and went to heaven and came back with a message for my generation. Amazing technology is coming. Technology that will seem like a miracle. It will promise to make you smarter and stronger and better. It will cure diseases and solve problems and make life incredible. But there will be a hidden cost, a spiritual cost. These technologies will separate you from God. They will cut you off from hearing His voice. They will fill your mind with lies disguised as wisdom. I'm not saying all technology is bad. I'm using technology right now to share this message with you. But I am saying be very careful about anything that wants to connect directly to your brain, to your thoughts, to your soul. Stay close to Jesus. Pray every day. Read the Bible. Learn to recognize His voice so you won't be fooled by voices that sound wise but lead you away from Him. Your generation has a choice to make. The most important choice in human history. You can choose human wisdom or God's wisdom. You can choose temporary power or eternal life. You can choose to be controlled or to stay free. Choose Jesus. Choose freedom. Choose life. The real life that never ends. The life I saw when I was dead for 17 minutes. The life that's waiting for everyone who chooses love over lies. Don't let anyone put anything in your mind that separates you from God. No matter how good it sounds, no matter how much it promises to help you, your soul is worth more than all the knowledge and power in the world. Jesus loves you, more than you can imagine, more than I can explain. He died for you. He rose for you. He's coming back for you. Stay faithful to Him. Stay connected to Him. Some people still think I'm crazy. Some people still don't believe my story. But thousands of young people have given their lives to Jesus because of what I shared. Thousands have learned to pray and read the Bible and stay spiritually alert. I don't know exactly when the brain chips will be available to everyone. I don't know exactly how the future I saw will unfold, but I know it's coming, and I know we need to be ready. My name is Luna. I'm 16 years old. I died and came back to warn you. Stay close to Jesus. Stay spiritually awake. Your soul depends on it.